check. Hello. Can anyone hear me? Hello. Do we have audio? If you can hear me, make sure you jump into the chat and let me know. You got me? Okay, hello everyone. I am C. Scott Brown. I am here at Google I/O in Mountain View, California, and this has been a really good show so far. And I wanted to do a live stream to sort of bring you guys to the show as best as I can and answer any questions you might have, chat about what cool things Google has announced this year, and talk about the overall direction of Google I/O going forward. So I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. So if you have anything that you want to know about Google I/O or announcements that were made, feel free to throw them in the chat now. But I just want to do a quick intro about this year and what's been significantly different. So in the past, Google I/O has been about all things Google. We saw hardware launches, we saw Android announcements, we saw typical product announcements related to things like Gmail and YouTube, and then we heard about business things. We heard about everything. It was all Google the entire time. The thing that's changed, though, is, of course, AI. Now, Google is so focused on AI that there's barely any room for anything else at the show. That's why we saw I/O get split this year for the first time in a long time, with Android having its own show called the Android Show that happened about a week back, and then that the I/O presentation, the keynote, there was barely any mention of Android at all. And that's probably going to be the way it's going to look going forward as well. We're probably going to see a unique separation of Android and the rest of I/O now that Google is so hyper-focused on AI. Now, that doesn't make the show less interesting. It just makes it a lot different than what we've seen in the past. So it used to be that you'd get pumped because I/O was, the first time you get to see the brand new Android version, and there'd be a whole discussion about like what kind of Android things would be happening. Davey Burke would come out and, there'd be demos on. It was so much focus on Android, but that's just not the case anymore. So that's different, and you can feel it here. There is an Android booth area. I could show it to you, but the camera's facing the other direction. But right across the way is an Android booth area. But really, it's just one thing. And then you've got AI over here. You've got cloud over here. You've got more AI over there. You've got Gemini stations. It's just very focused on this one thing now. So that's different. And but that doesn't make it less exciting. There are a lot of really cool things that were announced here, and I want to tell you all about them. But first, let me see if we've got any questions coming in. And okay, so first question here that I can see is from Frederick, who asks, XR glasses, when can I buy them? Okay, so this is probably the question that I want to know the answer to the most. And I don't know if you guys saw, but earlier this morning, we published a video that was the 5 things that I saw here at AO that were the most exciting for me. And the first one I talk about is the Android XR glasses, which I got to finally wear and try out yesterday. And Google is not telling us anything about when these are coming out. We know that Samsung is making them. We know that Qualcomm is making the what's it called? The silicon inside the glasses, and then we know that Google, of course, is creating the software platform, which is Android XR. So this is a collaboration between three of the biggest Android-related companies in the world. So this is not some, young upstart company that's going to start making smart glasses and see how they do. These are three behemoths joining forces to try and start this industry in the right way. So that all being said, the Android XR experience is really, really good. I know that it was just a prototype that I had to use, but it was as good as any other smart glasses I've ever used and seemed like it would be really useful in day-to-day life. You probably saw on stage that they showed how you can use it for turn-by-turn navigation. So you'll see in your glasses, you'll see like little turn-by-turn instructions on how to get from one place to the other. And to see it, you look down. You kind of like tilt your head down a little bit, and it shows the directions as if they're on the ground. And then when you look up, you can still see the text. They'll say like in 500 feet, take a right or whatever. So that's really useful. I can just imagine, instead of having to take my phone out when I'm in a city I don't know and looking around trying to figure out where I'm going next, I don't have to do that. Phone's in the pocket, just walk, and I can see where I need to go that way. Same thing with notifications. Instead of taking out my phone as I'm walking around and trying to check who's texting me, whatever, it just pops up in your vision. And then you can say, you can talk to Gemini, who's in the glasses as well, and you can say, dismiss that notification or respond and let them know whatever answer they need. So really useful stuff. Now, Google is showing us this, but it's not telling us anything about when we're actually going to be able to get them. And that's what makes me nervous, because right now, Google is very upfront that this is a prototype device. So, how long is it going to be before we have the real name of it, when it's going to come out, and how much it's going to cost? I would guess, if I had to guess, that we're not going to see a full retail release of these devices, these Android XR glasses, until next year, if not the year after. Yes, there are more partners now. XReal is also jumping on the bandwagon, so it's going to have more, it's going to be making hardware based on Android XR. And we also know that Warby Parker and Gentle Gorilla, I think is the other one, is going to be making hardware as well. So there's a lot of momentum here, but the fact that Google will not even answer the question vaguely when we ask them how much are these going to cost and when are they going to come out means that they're probably not coming out this year. So yeah, that's that. Now, Project Muhan, the headset that Samsung has already showed off, that they've told us is coming out this year. But they won't tell us what the name is. We still just call it Project Muhan, and they won't tell us how much it's going to cost or what countries it's going to be available in. I can only assume it's going to be available in the United States, but with the tariff situation and all these other things going on in the US right now, that might not be a guarantee. So lots of up in the air questions on that one. But Project Muhan is also super cool. It's just a very different product. Instead of using it to walk around a city, you just use it in your house on your couch or whatever. So yeah, very different products based on the same platform. Really cool, and I'm so excited that I finally got to try them here at I/O. So here we go. We have another question here from Sami Ullah Khan. What's new that we can expect from expressive design of Android 16? Any improvements in animations like One UI? So we know that Google is going to wholly revamp Android the way it looks with a new expressive version of Material 3. If you don't know what I'm saying when I say Material 3, Material is Google's design language. That's why when you fire up Chrome, you fire up your Pixel, you fire up your Android TV, all these things all have this cohesive design language that carries over from one to the other. So you feel like you're in the Google ecosystem. So that's Material. And so this new version that they've come out with this year is called Expressive, and it's a little more flashy. It's got more pizzazz to it. And yeah, we know Google's shown us what this looks like, but we just yesterday in the newest Android 16 QPR Beta 1 finally saw it working on actual phones. Now, this is still a beta, and it's not all of the features, it's just some of them. But if you really want to check out what this looks like, you can install the QPR1 Android 16 beta on your Pixel phone right now. It is a beta. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your daily driver. I would recommend doing it on a secondary phone or an older phone that you have laying around. But if you want to experience what Material 3 Expressive looks like, it's available now in beta form. If you want to see more about that and don't have a Pixel or don't feel comfortable installing it, we also did just publish a video yesterday going over a lot of the changes. They look really cool. My favorite thing that I'm really excited about is the new quick settings tiles. You can now make them smaller or larger, just like you can do on Nothing phones. So I think Google is inspired by what Nothing did with its own quick settings tiles. So yeah, I'm really excited to be able to customize that, because having a set layout of just, whatever it is, I think it's 4 quick settings tiles when you pull down the notification, that's not enough for me. I need more there. So I'm really excited to be able to start changing that up. Here we go from Daniel Osman, or Daniel Friedhorn. What are some highlight products most likely to be announced? So the hardware situation at I/O is minimal. There are no hardware announcements at all. The biggest announcements are all software based, all surrounding AI. The thing that I think is going to be the most useful to just the general user is AI mode within Google Search. And this is available now in the United States if you sign up for Search Labs, which is really easy. Just go to google.com and click the little science beaker icon that's in the upper right corner. Hit that, say I opt in, and then boom, you'll have AI mode in the United States anyway. And the reason that I think this is going to be so useful is because you're no longer going to be limited to simple queries within Google and having to have 20,000 tabs open to figure something out. So, for example, what I did yesterday is I asked AI mode to find me a smartphone. So I asked a bunch of questions. I wanted a phone that was less than $800. I wanted to have a great camera. Obviously, I wanted to run Android. I wanted to be available in the United States, et cetera, et cetera. All these different criteria that I needed for the phone. Now, normally in Google, what I'd have to do is I'd say best Android phone, and then that'd be one tab. And then I'd have to have another tab being like best Android camera, best Android phone under $800, all these different tabs, and then try to deduce which phone I should buy. But with AI mode, you enter in all the questions all at the same time, and Google does multiple searches for you and then organizes all the information in this really easy to read format. It included buy links to various phones. It included reviews, both YouTube and articles. It included information on why that particular phone was a good buy. And what was most important to me when I did this experiment is that the phones it recommended were actually really good. Like the Pixel 9a was on there, the Galaxy S25, the OnePlus 13R, like recent, really good smartphones that are very highly reviewed by sites like Android Authority and our contemporaries. So yeah, it was accurate. It was easy to understand. It was easy to read. It was easy to ask the questions. This is something that's going to be a game changer for everybody, because everybody watching this uses Google. So it's like, that's just, that to me is going to be a game changer for general day-to-day life stuff. And yes, it's AI, but you don't really need to think about it as being AI. Just think about it as being a way to do 20 Google searches at once and have all that information parsed down into one funnel. And yeah, AI is what's doing it in the background, but who cares? Like, what really matters is that it's useful for your day-to-day life. So that's the most exciting product announcement at I/O that I think. All right, so let me see what else is going on here. Okay, there's a quick question here about I/O, how it works. A higher quality upload. So when will all the sessions be available online? It's unclear. A lot of the sessions will actually not be available online. The keynote is obviously available online. You can already go to YouTube and rewatch the keynote from yesterday as much as you like. And some of the sessions will be broadcast. The developers keynote, I believe, will be on there. But there are tons of little tiny sessions around here that will not be broadcast. You actually have to physically be here to see them. To be fair, though, there won't be very many things that consumers would care about. There'll be a lot of those unaired sessions will be things specifically for developers or other business partners. So just to give you an idea of like what I/O is about, like I/O is a place where everyone who connects with Google in some way can come and learn about what's going on with Google right now and coming in the near future. And when I say everyone, I don't just mean people, like us, consumers who are interested in smartphones and Google's tech and all that stuff. I'm talking about business partners, companies that work with Google Cloud. I'm talking about developers, people who create Android apps and other, Google-related things, integrating into Gmail's API or integrating Google Maps into their applications in some way. Those people are all here. And then there are just other business leaders, people who are connected to Google directly because they do business with them. They're also here. So lots of those sessions are catering to these other sects of people. And they don't need to broadcast those sessions for everybody to see. So yeah, there will be a lot of sessions that unfortunately you'll be able to read about, but you won't actually be able to watch from the comfort of your home. But if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching the keynote from yesterday. They cover all sorts of stuff there. It was really interesting. One of the better keynotes I think that I've seen from Google at I/O. It's just really long. Strap yourself in. It's 2 hours long. By the end of it, we were shifting in our seats quite a bit because it was one of the longest keynotes I've had to sit through. But really good, really worthwhile. All right, let's see what other things are going on in here. Okay, Daniel Friedhorn has a follow-up statement here. I wonder how AI will affect the marketing and SEO industry. So I can't really say how it's going to affect those particular subsets, but I can say what AI in general, the vibe here about AI at Google I/O. Obviously, like I said earlier, AI is everything for Google I/O at the moment. I mean, everywhere I turn, there's a sign that says AI or AI this or, whatever. And I think the thing that consumers are starting to realize is that it's just a word. It doesn't really mean anything. And I think companies are starting to understand this as well. Yesterday, for example, when they gave the keynote speech, at the end, Sundar showed a number of the amount of times that they said the word AI and the amount of times they said the word Gemini. And of course, it was, almost 100 times for AI and I think like 50 times for Gemini or whatever. And that's, funny and silly. But I think what's really starting to happen is that consumers are starting to see that AI doesn't mean anything. What the AI does is what actually matters to them. Just as a quick example, circle to search. Okay, circle to search. I'm hoping everyone watching this stream uses circle to search because it's probably one of the most useful and best products that Google's released in the past 5 years. It's super intuitive to use. It's incredibly useful. It does numerous things. I probably use circle to search at least 2 or 3 times a day. And circle to search is AI. Like, what's underneath circle to search is an AI system that uses artificial intelligence to do the things that it does. But who cares? I don't care. I don't care that it's got AI under the hood. All I care about is what it does for me. And that's one of the things that I think companies, especially Google, are starting to realize. They're realizing that just the very notion of AI we don't get excited about that. The consumers, the people who read AndroidAuthority.com or watch our videos or whatever, they don't care. They just want to know what can this do for me. Another great example of this is Magic Eraser within Google Photos. You have a photo you took and it's got somebody or something in the background that you don't want there. You just circle it and then hit a button and boom, AI erases it. Who cares? I don't care that generative AI is behind that. I don't care where the system goes. I don't care how it works in the background. All I care about is that I took a photo of my family and something was in there that I didn't want, circle it, get rid of it. Now I have a terrific photo. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear about how AI is going to make our lives better and easier. And we don't care how it happens. So I imagine that what's going to happen over the next year, maybe 2 years, is we're going to see less and less of the term AI thrown around and focus more on what AI can actually do for us. At least I can hope, because I don't know about you, but I'm sick of AI being attached to every single thing. I'm going to go to the grocery store today and get an AI banana, I'm sure. Okay, let's see. We have a question here about Google Beam. So Google Beam is a new product that they didn't tell us much about. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't even know if consumers are going to be able to get it. It's made by HP, so Google is not making Google Beam. It's in partnership with HP, and they're going to create this system and sell it. But from what I could tell, it seems like more of an enterprise thing. So Google Beam is based off of Project Starline, and the idea behind it is it was created during the COVID era, and the idea is that you want to have a video call with someone. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have that video call in a semi three-dimensional way, so it looks like you're actually in the room with that person? And this is a cool idea that, you know, makes a lot of sense, especially in the COVID era when, you know, video calls were all we were doing because we were locked away in our homes. But the system itself, Google Beam, the actual device, it's like the size of a television. It's massive because it has to fit a full-size human in it, so that it seems like you're actually sitting across the table from them. This is not something that your general consumer is going to buy. I don't need a television-sized thing in my house so that I can have a conversation with my coworkers or whatever and feel like we're in the same room together. This is going to be something that's going to be in like corporate boardrooms, big meeting offices, or maybe even schools, or possibly like libraries. A lot of places could use this, but it's not really something that the general consumer is going to buy. And even if the general consumer was going to buy it, it probably is going to cost like $10,000 or something. Because once again, it's massive, and it's got lots of cameras in it. It's super technologically advanced and all that. So yeah, so I don't think you need to really get excited about Google Beam, but it is really cool. It's a cool technology. It does seem like, you know, there's somebody in the room with you when you're having the conversation with them, when really they're, you know, thousands of miles away, sitting somewhere in their own room with a Google Beam system looking at them. So yeah, cool idea. I don't really think it's going to be something that's going to affect the general consumer anytime soon. But who knows? 5-10 years down the road, it could be that the technology that is built into Google Beam is shrunk down, made cheaper. They figure out a way to make it so that it fits into a more, consumer-friendly product, and then who knows, maybe it'll come down the line in some way. But for right now, I don't know. I don't think Google Beam is going to be something that you or I are going to be buying. Okay, so going for probably another like 10 minutes here. And I want to talk a little bit more about some of the cool things that I tried here. One of the things that was super cool, but also seemed a little weird, was the new generative AI video creation platform that's called Flow. So this is a brand new product. It is not something that Google has ever had before. It's essentially a video editing platform similar to, if you're familiar with Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro or something like that, where you have a timeline and you drop video clips in there, and then you can edit them together and make, you know, a video. And Flow is that, but instead of dropping clips in that you actually shot using a camera, you're creating the clips out of thin air using generative AI. And previously with video creation within the Google ecosystem, it was only for 8-second clips, and the clips were silent. They were just video, that was it. But with VO3 that was announced at I/O yesterday, you can now have music, sound effects, and dialogue automatically created using generative AI within the clip. And so Google played a clip of this at the keynote where they showed an owl and I think a badger having a conversation together, completely generated with AI. It looked like a DreamWorks or Pixar film. And, you know, the owl even had a British accent. Like, it was very, very intricate and in-depth, something that you would look at and think to yourself, an animation studio made this. But it didn't. It was just made by a text prompt. Somebody sat there and wrote out a, you know, long paragraph of what they wanted to hear the owl say, how they wanted the owl to sound, and all these other things, and then created it out of thin air. So this was a little freaky for me because I'm a huge film nerd, and the idea that somebody could just write in a bunch of text prompts and then make ostensibly a film, if they spend enough time doing it, kind of was a little freaky for me. So I'm not going to go too much into that because not everybody on here cares as much about movies as I do. But the technology behind it was really cool. It'll take you a long time. So even if you have Flow pulled up on your computer and you start making some clips, each clip is probably going to take like at least 2 to 4 minutes to create. And then if your clip is longer or more detailed or has a bunch of stuff in it, like music and sound effects and all these other things, it could be up to 10 minutes. So you're going to be making, if you wanted to make a 10-minute long video, that's going to be dozens of, if not hundreds of hours of sitting there prompting. Because remember, every time you make a clip, it might not come out exactly the way you want it to. Maybe the lighting's not right. Maybe the character doesn't look the way that you thought it would. So you're going to have to, mess with it for a while. So it would take somebody a really, really, really long time to actually make a film or a video using Flow and VO3. But the technology is there. A year, 2, 3, 5 years down the line, it could be possible that you could just write a text prompt and then watch a full-length movie back created out of thin air by AI. And that's a little uncomfortable for me, but it was really cool to use, and something that when it does come out eventually for people to try, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Unfortunately, one of the things Google also announced here is a brand new subscription service called Google AI Ultra, and I think the price was $250 a month to access this. And this gets you everything that Google basically does. It includes 30 terabytes. That's right, you heard that right, terabytes. 30 terabytes of space on Google One servers. It also includes YouTube Premium, and it includes Gemini and all the Gemini services related to it, including Flow, which I just described, the video creation thing. So yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be very expensive to do all these AI things, but if you've got some money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to give all these AI tricks a shot, it's there for you. Google AI Ultra subscription, $250 a month. For the more sensible people among us, there's also still the Google AI Pro version, which is basically Gemini Advanced, but now called Google AI Pro, and that still costs $20 a month. So a lot less stuff, not nearly as much space given for Google Drive storage, and no YouTube Premium included. But whatever. So yeah, I think Google's asking a lot with a $250 monthly subscription. But for those of you who are obsessed with AI and obsessed with all the cool things that you can do, that's going to be the way forward for you. Okay. I think that we are pretty much done with questions here. So I guess I'll close out by giving just a little bit more info about what it's like being here. I/O is an incredibly exciting place to be because everything feels like it's cutting edge. Everything feels like you're seeing something from the future. Yesterday, you can see this in the video we published this morning. Yesterday, I got to control a robot using my voice. I spoke into a microphone and I told the robot to do things, and the robot arms picked up objects and put objects in other things, and it was really cool. Like, that's something that you can't try every day. And yeah, I mean, being able to try the Google AR glasses and Project Muhan, products that don't even exist yet, products that nobody can try. It just feels like you're experiencing the future now here, more so than I think other events that are similar to this. Like when you go to a smartphone launch, it's mostly just, here's the smartphone, isn't it cool? Check it out. That doesn't feel quite as, getting a taste of the future as Google I/O does. So this is probably one of my favorite shows to go to, and it's just super exciting, and you can just feel in the air that everyone's so excited about trying out all these new things. So yeah, if you have the time and you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend watching the keynote. Maybe if you have even more time than that, check out some of the other live stream things that have happened, the other events where they talk about what's coming for the future. And as always, go to androidauthority.com, where we have a whole list of all the things Google has announced here, some of which you can try right now, like AI mode, as I talked about earlier. So if you have the time, please go and check out all the cool things that have happened, because I think you're going to be really excited about them. Yeah, but that's all the time I got. Thanks so much for checking out this live stream. And yeah, I will be talking to you guys soon. Stay tuned. We have one more video coming from I.O. that is going to go live tomorrow morning. So stay tuned. We have one more thing to show you that I think you're really going to enjoy. So get excited about that. Stay tuned to the Android Authority YouTube channel for that tomorrow morning. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I will see you later.